Ready for your weekly tech fix? Want to know how technology sets us free? Well, get ready because here it comes. Tired of boring specials about history, science, and technology? Then get on your best headphones because you might want to lay down for this. A Sovryn Tech special with the world's foremost anarchist technophile, Brian Sovryn. He has a huge, well, you know. And now, here's Brian. Hello, it's Stephanie here.
And Brian.
And we're doing something a little bit different today. Right, Brian? We got a new toy.
Yeah, new toy.
And we're going to review it here for you. This is very exciting. People are wondering what it is. And you may already have figured it out if you saw the title of the podcast or if you heard the maybe difference in audio quality than you're used to. You may pick up a little bit of a difference comparing this podcast with the normal sound of like the Pork Therapy studio or the Sovryn Tech studio. Right. By the way, did we ever decide whose podcast we are actually on? Is it Pork Therapy, Sovryn Tech, or
I don't know.
Hybrid?
Yeah, it could be like Pork Tech or Sovryn Therapy, which maybe Brian Sovryn should go to therapy. No.
We'll go with Pork Tech.
Okay.
For this one. And I'm really excited about this new toy that we got. So what it is the Zoom H1 portable microphone. And this is a small device that's made specifically for the purpose of doing basically travel interviews. Like, so if we're at a convention or a conference of some kind, we can put this thing in our pocket and have it around, a device that just all on its own will record audio, for instance, like interviews with people or maybe audio of events even. Mm-hmm. And we can just keep it in our pocket and later on transfer the files to our computer, but it has its own battery, it has a SD card, and so it's really like everything is contained in this device that you need to do mobile podcasting. So I was really excited about this because, Brian, you and I are going to go to the 2013 Bitcoin conference, right?
That's right.
And we're going to be going to San Jose, California, and, this is going to be a trip where we're going to want to pack light. We're not going to want to bring like a lot of large, bulky audio equipment.
No, yeah. I mean, and in general, it seems like today when you're flying, you really don't want to pack a lot anyway. I mean, that was kind of good advice years ago. I used to travel quite a bit.
Right.
And I mean, I got very used to traveling with very, very little, and so it's a good thing. I mean, if stuff can get smaller to take with you, that's all the better anyway when you're dealing with the TSA and whatever else. And there's no confusing what this thing is. I mean, it's clearly, an audio recorder.
Yeah. It may even give you some credibility, right? Because it looks like a very official, press credential, that kind of thing. Absolutely.
It's very, very professional looking, which, I mean, I guess that's important to mention. Like, what's the price point?
Yeah, okay, so the price point on this, the microphone was $99, and then we also got an accessory pack for it, which I think was worthwhile. It includes a windscreen, a tripod, a handle like, you would use for a microphone so that you can grasp it without actually, making sure you don't touch the buttons and stuff like that.
Right.
It also included an SD card. Was that included with the microphone?
It did. It came with a 2 gig SD card. It can handle supposedly up to like a 32 gig micro SD. Mm-hmm. Very important to mention that, micro SD. And the 2 gig...
Oh, wait a minute. There were more accessories.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
There was a cord, a USB wall charger, so you can power it that way. It comes with a battery, and it's, I guess, meant to be battery powered, so you don't have any, it's basically wireless.
Yeah, just a AA battery that you can get anywhere, which is great. That's a good thing. I mean, USB charging would be nicer if you could just charge by USB alone, but if you can't do USB charging, having AA or AAA is a great thing. In this case, it's AA.
Right. And it also came with a carrying case. And so I thought those accessories were worthwhile. So all in all, the whole package was about $125.
Yeah, well worth it. Tripod, I mean, the whole thing.
Yeah, and I do want to mention that the reason I was able to get this microphone was because the Pork Therapy listeners and the Sovryn Tech listeners too very kindly used my Amazon affiliate link for pork therapy, and I got enough Amazon credits saved up, and I said, wow, this would be like a great thing to have for the show, because we can take it to the Bitcoin conference, we can take it to Pork Fest, we can take it anywhere, and have this really easy and convenient way to do interviews. And, we had the Blue Yeti microphone.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that.
Yeah, go ahead.
And the Blue Yeti is a great microphone, but it's USB powered. I mean, it has like a built-in, some degree of built-in equalization, all that stuff.
Yeah, the gain and volume.
Yeah, gain and volume, all that, which is great. But it's rather bulky. Like if any of the listeners know what an Elgin bottle, about the size of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about that size, if not a little bigger.
And it's heavy.
And
it's like
heavy.
An Elgin bottle full of sand or something.
Yeah. And I mean, it gets great sound. It's a great performer, but you certainly can't go walking around with your netbook in your hand and then a Blue Yeti in your hand,
Right.
and go all over the place doing interviews in the middle of a, crowded convention center or something like that. So usually what you have to do is you have to bring your guest, your interviewee, you have to bring them back to your hotel room. People could find that to be a little sketchy. There's some people I wouldn't want to bring back to my hotel room.
Right.
So they have this incredible...
Who do you want to interview that you wouldn't have back to your hotel room?
I don't know if I want to name any names, but I definitely had some come to mind.
Yeah, I know. Me too. But
like I wouldn't have Mark Edge come back to my hotel room.
Oh,
I mean,
not very nice.
just because I couldn't trust myself, But
it's just a joke, of course.
Yeah, of course. Mark's great. So it's this incredible. I mean, it literally can fit in your back pocket with ease, which I think is amazing.
Right.
And I'm not really sure what the battery life is yet, and I suppose that result may vary based upon the quality of the AA battery.
Right.
But I mean, how hard is it to carry around a couple extra batteries? Come on.
Right. Or, it would be a little bit of a limitation if you were chained to the wall, like if you had to plug it into the wall.
Sure.
But still not too bad. It's not as if you're carrying around a tablet or a notebook or whatever to get the audio. It's all contained on the device, which is very small.
Right.
And the size of the device is literally like perfectly sized to fit in the palm of your hand.
Yes.
So this is definitely like an ideal travel microphone. And I had heard a lot of great things about it. Our friend Jack has this microphone, and he used it for a speech that he gave on the run. And I thought his quality was good with it, even though it was like he was kind of his first time doing any really audio recording at all. And he got like a good sound quality with it. I also heard from Adam B. Levine, who I'm working with on the Let's Talk Bitcoin podcast recently, that he was really interested in this microphone, and he has a background in audio engineering. So I figured,
so he knows.
He knows what he's talking about.
Sure.
So I was really interested in getting this mic, and I thought, well, like this Bitcoin conference is coming up, and I have Amazon credit from my pork therapy listeners so kindly going through the link, and why don't we give it a shot? And you and I took it out of the box, Brian, today, and we played with it. And oh my, this is sounding so scandalous. We took the mic out of the box and we played with it. And we, played with the buttons and pressed things and fine-tuned the settings, did some sound checks. And I was super impressed. Not only, so I guess let me back up the train first, actually. So it has two microphones, actually.
Right.
And they're pointing basically in opposite directions.
Right.
They're kind of like shotgun microphones, if you are familiar with that terminology, which means like it's a cylindrical shape of microphone and it's kind of aimed in a certain direction. And so what it's meant to do is when two people are facing one another, like you and I, Brian, are sitting on a couch right now and facing one another, and it's meant to pick up both of our voices at the same time, but it actually records it in stereo. And so it sounds like I'm in the left ear and you're in the right ear. So I don't know if we're going to be releasing this podcast in stereo or mono, but you can probably hear that. And, the listener may get a little bit of a feeling of being actually there, like it's like an angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other shoulder. And I'll let you guess who's the devil in this situation.
That's right. You devil.
I thought you were the devil.
Hey, I might be. Some people make that claim.
Right. So I really like that about the mic, and it's ideal for this kind of interview setup where people are just talking face to face.
Yeah.
It also has a line out, so you can plug headphones into it to sort of monitor the audio quality in real time.
Right.
And so what we did here for this podcast was we used a splitter, and we plugged just 2 pairs of earbuds into it. And, you can hear the stereo setup, the positioning of me and Brian. You can hear what's going on with the audio, and it's a great way to monitor it. Mm-hmm. It even has a line in, so you could plug in potentially another microphone to it. Or I don't know what else. What else do you think you could plug into the line in? Maybe like a cable that's playing a video or something like that, or maybe a speaker from a microphone that's picking up like a speaker's audio, like from their,
if you had like some kind of direct line that you could. I mean, one advantage that you could do, I suppose, is you could actually use this to record Skype calls or Google Hangouts by lining out by taking a 1/8 jack out of your computer and then just lining it in right into this and just hitting record.
Right.
So that's multi-use tool, no doubt about it. So there's a good reason to have a line in.
Yeah, definitely. And it's got volume control on here. It's even got a speaker, so if you don't have headphones but you want to do a playback and see how your audio sounded on the fly, you can do that without a pair of headphones in your pocket.
Yeah, and it's just a little speaker. I mean, this isn't like the speaker itself isn't for audiophiles. Certainly the microphones are.
Right.
They're high end, but I mean, the speaker is just there is kind of a nicety. It has a really, really nice liquid crystal display on the front of it that I like. Has a good, nice orange glow to it.
Yeah.
Which
it's
can be
even
good
polite. It says hello and goodbye.
Yeah, it says hello and goodbye. And I like the orange glow just because, like, you say it's at night, late at night, you're in like recording in a dark room or something, or you're recording who knows what. An orange light isn't as abrasive to the eye as say blue lights are.
Right.
I mean, it'd be best if it were green. Green is naturally the eye likes green the best.
But
for nighttime, orange might be best. Yeah.
Right. I was just thinking of that Flux app.
Exactly.
That turns your screen into a reddish glow at night, so it doesn't disrupt your circadian rhythms.
Right. But it does the red glow to get rid of the blue more than well, anyway, that's a whole other story.
Right. But yeah, it's pleasant to look at, and one of the things that I really like about it is it's super easy to tell what it's doing, and like the user interface is really intuitive, and so
very basic.
It's super easy. Like there's a big red record button right in the center of it that you can easily press with your thumb, and then there's a red light on when it's recording, and then it shows you the sound levels as well.
Yeah, it has a nice little what do you call that?
Oh, I don't know, sound monitor or something.
Yeah,
one of those.
Yeah, it has the lines going up and down.
Where the bars go up and down. We're very professional here on this podcast.
We're incredibly professional. We are true audiophiles rating this product.
I actually think that a true audiophile would be really impressed by the quality of this audio, because we looked into some other products. For instance, there's a microphone out there that you can basically plug into your smartphone through the headphone jack.
Right.
And that one just didn't get very good reviews in terms of its audio quality. But with the H1 that we're using right now, first of all, you have the option to record in WAV format or MP3. So there's a lossless format in there. You can record, you can change the settings so that you can adjust the bit rate of MP3 if you're recording in the MP3 format, or you can adjust the sample rate and the what is it called? Anyway, there's different parameters you can adjust with the wave setting as well. Mm-hmm. And it also has an auto leveling feature, which is pretty cool, which kind of keeps the levels steady.
Right. And it keeps the volume levels steady. Mm-hmm. Like for a second it may boom, but if like suddenly you just started talking louder for 10 minutes, it would...
Or you had the mic closer to your face.
Yeah,
or something.
It would normalize, in a couple of seconds. We tested that earlier, and it actually worked pretty well when we played it back, that it did normalize the sound pretty fast.
Right. So
really nice filter.
Yeah, it's almost like foolproof. Like it has basically almost like a compressor built in.
Yeah, it's something that just came to mind, and I'll test this later, and I may mention it on Sovryn Tech, or you may mention it on your show, Pork Therapy, at some point, but I think if you combine this perhaps with your phone or tablet using the line in, I think that could be pretty impressive.
What would you do with that?
You could essentially record, like especially with Apple products like iPads and all. They have a version of GarageBand essentially on them, which is the best, in my opinion, the best audio software on planet Earth.
So maybe you'd want to use the line out for that feature, actually.
Or I'm sorry, the line out,
right.
And to where you could essentially use your Android phone. Because this thing's so small. It's such a small microphone, and it's way better than anything like iRig comes out with, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You'd have a whole recording suite, in your smartphone. But I'll have to test that. I want to see if the smartphone will recognize it in the first place.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things I want to try out with this mic, but I'm just doing this test today and doing this little podcast with you, Brian. I feel really confident that it's going to suit our purposes really well when we go to the Bitcoin conference, because I always try. Like I go to these conferences and I want to do interviews with people, but it's just not very convenient for the reasons that we talked about before. I don't want to lug my laptop around, and I don't want to carry this huge Blue Yeti around, and I don't want to bring people back to my hotel room necessarily. And so it's just way more convenient to have something in the palm of my hand in my pocket to do that. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, and I'm anticipating, particularly at the Bitcoin Conference 2013, I'm anticipating there's going to be some big tech names there. I'd like to at least ask them some questions. I do have a press badge for this event as the host of Sovryn Tech. And so, here I am, press, here's my microphone, let's talk. And so it allows you to do that kind of quick and dirty interviewing, which is good. You can go
professional.
Right, but it sounds great. Just like you'd expect from, some of the bigger, like in my field, some of the bigger tech guys like Twit or Verge or somebody else owned by CBS. But amazing.
So I guess we're going to be sharing this at the conference, but I think we're going to get some good use out of it. At least I hope so. And I'm really excited to have it. I guess that was about 15 minutes of interview. So do you have anything else to add about the microphone?
Nothing more about the microphone, just that it really looks like a very, very solid product from a great company, Zoom, which is owned by Samsung, not Samsung, but Samsung, and there is a difference.
I would not have picked that up.
Yeah, so just a really high end little piece of machinery, and
reasonable price too.
It's not a bad price, and in fact, I've even I did a little looking into this microphone, and there's a lot of people professional names who use it for they use it for their entire podcast.
Wow. Yeah, I think you could do that.
Yeah, so it's that good.
Yeah.
And so that's something to consider.
Yeah, I was super impressed by the audio quality when we listened back to the little test that we did just a few minutes ago. I guess one last thing to mention, I think it has a feature that enables you to kind of get rid of some background noise called low cut. So you can put that on if you're in a noisy area, and perhaps it would help.
That'd be a great thing to have on when you're going around the convention. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And on the side of the microphone too, you can delete files, you can play back, you can pause and everything. It really does everything you could possibly imagine without being confusing and having too many extra features.
Yeah, no, I thought I look at it and I think it's very intuitive on how to use it, as to where audio equipment can often be one of the most confusing things for people. I don't see this as confusing at all. And if you were looking for an all-in-one kind of podcast solution,
I would say somebody could do their podcast with this, especially if they have a co-host who's physically present. Yeah, because it does have those two microphones that are pointed sort of in opposite directions. So I think this would be very ergonomic, very easy to use for a podcast. Yeah,
we're holding it pretty close right now. I don't know how it would do if it was like a foot away.
I think it could probably still work.
Yeah,
and it depends on the volume of people's voices naturally anyway.
Too. Sure.
Right, but who doesn't want to get intimate with their co-host, right, Brian?
Right, yeah. Well, yeah, who wouldn't? Especially with you. Whoops.
Oh, my. And speaking of which, I guess we have some other things to do tonight, so we better get going. And thank you for listening to our review. And this has been a review of the H1, the Zoom H1 handy recorder. I would say we recommend it. By the way, they didn't send us this as a free sample either. We should just make that clear.
No, right?
We did purchase it. So
yeah, this was bought and paid for.
We're unbiased.
Thanks to the listeners of the shows. Mainly of Pork Therapy, but you can get to the same Amazon link through sovryntech.com. But we're being totally unbiased here. And for me, that's a very important thing, is that my opinions are not bought and paid for.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great little piece of tech.
Right. And would you consider reviewing other products? I mean, I would if somebody wanted to send me something. You can email me at questions@porktherapy.com, and I'll let you know if I'd be willing to review it. But haven't really gone down that road yet with our shows, Brian. But
I've made it an open offer that I would review products, but whether Sovryn Tech's reach just isn't there yet, or someone just doesn't have a product yet, that they'd be interested in me reviewing. Either way, that's fine. I mean, I'm more of as far as tech journalism goes, I'm more of the culture of tech. So I'm not like one of those guys that breaks everything down to it's nut and bolts and lets you know what it is. So I mean, it's fine if they don't want. If they don't want to send something to me, maybe I'm not that kind of journalist. But all the same, I will say that the H1 Zoom, this thing is great.
Yeah, this was fun. I mean, mostly I was just excited to try it out. And
sure.
I was excited to play with it. So I wanted to do a little podcast about it. And I figured, hey, it's good to do, might be useful to other people to do a review. So
yeah, why not?
That's basically why we're doing this. So, okay, cool. Thanks for listening. You can find us at our respective websites. Mine is porktherapy.com. It's porctherapy.com. I am Stephanie. And Brian, your website?
Yeah, mine is Sovryn Tech. That's Sovryn tech.com, as I am Brian Sovryn. And you can find everything there. Links to everything. Google+, you name it.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess we'll see you later. This has been Sovryn Tech. Visit us at sovryntech.com. That's SOVRYN tech.com. There you can connect with us, see more of what you've heard on today's show, and catch our podcast feed. Sovryn Tech is open source. We encourage you to share. Later, nerds.